everyone. Welcome to part 2 of OpManager MSP's pre-training series. Here's the training schedule of this free training series. The training is split into two parts. On October 18th, we discussed onboarding and monitoring the multi-client networks using OpManager MSP. And today, in the second session, we will discuss client network visualization and fault management. Again, as I said, the recorded version of this webinar will be emailed to you by tomorrow along with the presentation materials. Let's start today's session with the agenda. First, we'll have a recap of part 1 of this retraining series, and then we will dive into multi-client fault management, instant fault notification, and then we will discuss integrations and workflows in detail, and client network visualization. Followed by that, we will explore the endpoint add-on and data center management, and finally, we will discuss reports. Without further ado, let's begin. Starting with the recap of part 1, first we discussed what is OpManager MSP. Followed by that, we learned the steps to install OpManager MSP's central and probe servers. Then we discussed how to onboard clients using OpManager MSP's client onboarding features. And followed by that, we spoke about multi-client monitoring with OpManager MSP. So let's jump into the session. The first topic for today is multi-client network fault management. There can be various types of faults in a network. With your client's network help depending on various resources like the system resources, services, network connectivity, etc., getting to the root of the problem is simplified when the monitoring solution raises meaningful alarms. In OpManager MSP, we help you identify the problem quickly with its detailed alarms, indicating the resource that is poorly performing in the client network. With OpManager MSP, you can proactively identify any faults in your client's network with threshold-based alarms. Threshold can be set by two methods. One is by doing it manually, where you can set thresholds for a particular metric, let's say CPU utilization, for one device or for multiple devices at the same time. The other method is adaptive threshold, where OpManager MSP will learn the data patterns and raise alerts based on the same. And all you need to do is simply enable the feature. So let's go to the UI and check out this feature quickly. So just click on settings. So we just select a probe. And under monitoring, click on monitor settings. And as you can see, the adaptive thresholds has already been set. And please remember that adaptive thresholds are right now available only for CPU utilization, memory utilization, and response time. So all you have to do is enable the checkbox to set up an adaptive threshold for different metrics in your network. So once adaptive thresholds are enabled, the calculated threshold value will automatically be associated to all new devices discovered in OpManager MSP. Besides this, you can also get alerted based on syslogs and traps generated in your multi-client networks. You can also acknowledge, suppress, and escalate the alarms to gain stronger control over your alert messages. In OpManager MSP, we don't have just one, but multiple notification options as well as for you to choose from, like email, SMS, and more. This way, alarms will never go unnoticed. All right, let's get into some more details. The first topic we're going to discuss is alarms. Normally, for the client metrics that you're monitoring, threshold values are set, and when the metrics exceed the mentioned threshold values, OpManager MSP notifies the technician or the admin who is responsible for overseeing the client network performance by generating an alarm. By creating threshold-based alerts, you can proactively monitor your client network and ensure it doesn't go into unplanned downtime or cause device failure. With OpManager MSP, you can easily identify client device alarms quickly with severity-based color-coded alarms and event history. The color codes are clear. The color codes are clear in green, attention in yellow, and followed by trouble as orange and critical as red. You can acknowledge, clear, and execute workflows with the client alarms window. You can also categorize alarms based on severity and view client alarm status from dedicated dashboard widgets. So let's see how this looks in the product. So to see alarms, let's just click on the alarms tab here. And as you can see, you have all these alarms listed down right here. You can click on this red symbol here to filter them by their severity. And if you click on a particular alarm, you can see the events, you can test action, configure notifications, and manage it if you want to, and so on. If you click on the dashboard, you can see the alarm widgets right here. You can see the recent alarms that have been generated in your dashboard. Let's go back to the presentation. Let's move on to the next slide. So now we're going to talk about instant fault notification. Alerting does not have to be emails or web alarms all the time. Our goal is to notify the technician in charge of the client network whenever a threshold is violated, and for that purpose, OpManager MSP provides various means of notification options. Convert client alarms to any type of notifications like email, SMS, or tickets with customized message and description. Customize the level of details in alarms to enable faster, easier troubleshooting of client network issues. As the sooner network issue is fixed, the sooner you can get back to performing normal functions. You can notify the stakeholders the right channel they prefer and at the right time. Notification profiles alert you if there are any faults in your client network devices. You can configure notification profiles to receive emails, SMS alerts, sound alarms, run programs or system commands, or even forward traps or syslogs. So let's go back to the product to see how this works. Let's click on settings and notifications. Just click on notification profiles. So you can already see a couple of profiles added here. To add a new profile, just click on add. So as you can see, these are the different types of notification profiles available for you. So this is just a quick overview. Let's dig a little deeper by exploring a few popular notification types. So the most preferred and the most common mode of notification is email. So this process starts with setting up a mail server. So let's do that. Let's click on settings again, under general settings, click on mail server settings. So you can see the server already set up here. Just provide the details with the tester name, port, timeout, and so on. Once you set up the mail server, go back to settings again, click on notification profiles, click add. And once you click on email, just set up the from and the to email address. Provide the subject, click on next and select the devices that you want to choose. And just click save to set up an email notification profile for OpManager MSP. So now that we've seen email, the next part is the SMS notification. So similar to email notification, SMS is also equally popular, and setting it up is really simple and easy. OpManager MSP supports SMS Gateway and SMTP. API-based services like Clickatl are also supported. You also have the excuse me. You also have the option to add multiple admins in one profile. Now let's talk about webhooks. As you know, webhooks allow applications to communicate between themselves and facilitate operations in an effective and faster way. OpManager MSP leverages this to push alert messages in to specified URLs in case of any event. Configuring webhooks can be done real quick and easy with OpManager MSP. This webhook feature will let you send alerts to individual users or groups in the communication channels who are responsible for handling the issues. You can easily customize the details you provide in alerts dashboard to not only ensure privacy, you can be more specific to ensure faster client network fault identification. So let's see how to set up a webhook in OpManager. Just click on settings again, notification profiles, add. So click on invoke a webhook. So all you have to do is provide the hook URL, provide the header, provide the user agent if necessary, the timeout, and select the devices that you want to establish a webhook for. And once you click on save, you can establish a webhook. And by creating a webhook, you can get alerts from OpManager MSP through your preferred messaging apps. Let's say like Telegram or Slack or Microsoft Teams, anything like that. So now the notification profile is covered and is configured, and we're all set to receive notifications. We should also cover another important topic of what happens if an alarm goes unnoticed. It might happen sometimes, right? So we may, by mistake, not notice an alarm or prioritize a few alarms over others and miss business critical client alarms. OPM MSP has an alarm escalation feature for this very purpose that can also act as your secondary alert or can directly escalate the alerts to the next level of the team so that the device triggering the alarm is addressed promptly. The alarm escalation rule will trigger an alert depending on the setting. So, for instance, CPU utilization of a server is important and it has to be kept under control. If you have not identified this alarm, there will be a lot of business impact. It will also impact the device, making it run slower, and also it will not allow other applications or services to run smoothly. With OpManager MSP, you can effortlessly customize alert resolution delays, after which an alarm has to be triggered. Stakeholder-specific alarm escalation messages can also be created. This helps to make sure that all the alerts are cleared without much delay. This feature also helps MSPs ensure client network SLAs are met. Let me take you through the process of setting up an alarm escalation in the product. So let's click on settings again. And under configuration, here you have alarm escalation rules. So you can see there have already been a couple rules set. So to add a new rule, just click on add rule, provide the name, provide the alarm severity, the category. You can filter through groups or business use, which we will look at in a few minutes. You can provide the customer name. You can provide the time within which it has to be escalated. You can choose when to run the check. And finally, you can choose to either send notifications about alarm escalation through email or through SMS. So just provide the subject and the message, and you'll be promptly notified about any alarm escalation in OpManager MSP. So let's move on. And now let's take a look at integration and workflow automation. So integrations are the easiest way to increase the capability of any network monitoring tool, and OpManager MSP is no exception. We have an inbuilt integration with STP MSP. Once the alerts are raised in MSP, respective tickets will be raised on the MVP MSP interface, and the clients will be notified. Configuring integration to client-specific STP accounts ensures faster troubleshooting. This out-of-the-box feature lets you customize the message in the alert that are to be passed on as tickets for each client based on your requirement. Client-specific ITSM ticketing mechanism ensures faster troubleshooting, and this will result in improved fault management efficiency. So let's see how this looks in the product. Just click on settings again. And under general settings, click on third-party integrations. So you have service desk MSP here. Click on configure. And to configure it, just enter the server name or the DNS name. Provide the MSP admin key. You can choose to create a new ticket if the alert reoccurs or reopen a closed ticket. And just associate the MSP customer with the service desk plus account. Up next, we have IT automation. Up next, we have workflow. Workflow is a feature that allows you to automate your L1 and L2 fault management tasks of your multi-client networks. And depending on the alarm that is getting generated, you can create your workflow with just a few drag and drops. It is very simple. You just need to drag and drop the various conditions that you have created and that you have and create meaningful information. This feature helps us save time, reducing manual effort, and has a lot of other benefits as well. This leads to faster troubleshooting, reducing TTR, and improves operational efficiency. Workflows can be triggered whenever a fault is raised or periodical maintenance. So let's see this in the product. So let's go to the product. So let's click on workflow. So you can see workflows that have already been created here. So to create a new one, just click on new workflow. So you have all these different drag and drop options available in workflow. So if you want to create a new workflow, all we have to do is click and drag and drop this right here. Just provide the details. So once you've created a workflow, just click on next step. So select the devices that you want this workflow to be configured for. You can choose the trigger for this. Click on next. Provide a name for this workflow and click on save to create a new workflow in OpManager MSP. So let's go back to the presentation. And moving on to the next part of the session, the next topic we're going to discuss is network visualization. With growing business requirements and needs, any client organization's network can become increasingly sophisticated and complex. Distributed topology and complex technologies in use only make it much harder for MSPs to monitor multi-client networks for performance, availability, and network faults. You can circumvent these bottlenecks using OpManager MSP's exhaustive network visualization capabilities. So let's see how OpManager MSP does that. You can easily gain in-depth visibility into the critical metrics of all the devices in your client's network. MSPs can create individual or collective views and monitor selective categories of devices or business critical devices. Isn't that efficient? Also, there are several features in OpManager MSP to help you have a granular and holistic view of all your client networks. Why don't you check out these features and learn how to efficiently visualize your client network performance? So dashboard is one of the powerful features in OpManager MSP that helps you visualize and get to the smallest details in your client network devices easily. So why do we need visualization in the first place? Data becomes useful only when it is presented clearly to the right audience. Apart from the presentation, instantly identifying network faults and performance makes an MSP's work more simple. This is why we need visualization, and all this can be achieved with the help of a network monitoring dashboard. Dashboards give an at-a-glance overview of the current status of your client's network with the critical metrics from routers, switches, firewalls, servers, services, applications, URLs, printers, UPS, and other infrastructure devices. One-click data refreshment ensures you're always working with the most up-to-date information. With real-time performance graphs readily available, MSPs can also quickly troubleshoot problematic devices remotely. OpManager MSP allows you to gain a holistic view of your multi-client network devices and customize them based on your requirements. You can also provide or revoke access to dashboards to your MSP operators or custom users based on the necessity. As we discussed in our first session, giving access only to the required data will increase security. So let's see how the dashboards look in OpManager. So as I previously showed you, you can get a quick overview of the recent alarms generated. In addition to that, you can see different widgets like customer snapshot, the probe snapshot, the infrastructure for both customers, and so on. If you want to create a new dashboard, just click on the sandwich icon here and click on New Dashboard. So once you enter the name of the dashboard and click Next, you can choose with the same widgets. In addition to widgets like CPU, like widgets that describe the CPU utilization, the servers in your OpManager MSP network, and a lot of others as well. And more importantly, you can choose who you want these dashboards to be visible to. If you want to make sure that they are only visible to your operator, you can do that. You can also make sure that specific dashboards are available only to custom users that you've created within OpManager MSP. Now that we understood how dashboards in OpManager MSP works, let's move on to the next critical feature that takes out the load from your operators. So the Network Operations Center or NOC is like a command center for admins and MSPs. This is where network admins monitor and manage a client's network or an entire IT infrastructure to ensure the high availability of business critical services to meet evolving business needs. It is basically a bigger version of dashboards. Dashboards are client specific or device specific, but NOC views give you a universal view of an entire client's network in a single pane of glass. The goal of any NOC is to maintain optimal network performance and availability and to ensure continuous uptime of business critical services. The NOC manages a lot of critical activities, including monitoring network, servers, and applications for health and performance, analyzing bandwidth, and proactively identifying bottlenecks. You can constantly keep track of security threats and attacks and analyze, modify network configurations based on business needs, spot faults and troubleshoot quickly to reduce the mean time to repair, and multiple client dashboards can be integrated into a single NOC view. You can view the overall status of multiple client networks simultaneously. OpManager MSP also lets you embed NOC view on larger screens and share real-time status of a client networks with your team. So let's see how to use this feature in the product. So if you click on the dashboard tab, you can create a new NOC view, and you can also see how the NOC view looks in OpManager. You can see the different NOC views available in OpManager. So now let's talk about layer 2 maps. Layer 2 maps help you discover the client networks quickly. A major advantage of using this discovery method is that you can discover the entire network to the seed or core router. Let us assume that you are expanding your branch by adding more devices to your network, but you have no idea of the approximate range of IP addresses used by your devices. But you know the IP of a seed router. Using that information, we can discover all the devices present in your network. Additionally, we can map all devices and plot them the way they're arranged in a physical network. Interesting? Not Manager MSP, Layer 2 discovery helps network administrators or data center admins visualize their complete client infrastructure with a live network map. It automatically discovers maps and reports the complete set of devices present in your infrastructure in less than no time. It also offers periodical network rediscovery options to keep the map alive and up to date. You can export these network maps to PDF, take printouts, and share it with your peer group. You can also export the Layer 2 map directly into Microsoft Visio. You can visit OpManager MSP help page to understand how to export to Visio and what are the prerequisites. So next, let's move on to business views. Similar to maps, we have a business view. The business view is one of the most frequently used features of OpManager MSP. The reason is the business view is that business views allows you to add links between devices and helps to represent the network diagram. These links can be configured based on user requirements. The business view gives you an overall view of your distributed network, and if you would like to make changes in the threshold or change the monitoring setting of an interface or a device, simply click on it and you will be taken to the snapshot view of the device interface. You can identify the status of a particular network component based on color coding. You can easily identify the devices that are down, a device that is critical, and so on from a single glance. The business view can also be used to fetch reports. This means you have created a business view with certain devices and interfaces, and if you wanted a report of the metrics, that is possible with OpManager. Let's see how this looks in the product. Let's click on Maps, and you can see the business views here. So if I click on one, you can see how the devices are arranged in the business view. So these graphical representations of the devices are according to the business services they cater to. This is to help you ensure the availability of business critical applications at all times, and it also helps in quicker troubleshooting. So followed by the business view, we also have another option called a map. Excuse me. This is one of the most important features offered in OpManager MSP. In OpManager MSP, you have the option to create and visualize a network infrastructure over the map so that you can get a clear picture of the geographical distribution of your network devices. This helps in easier identification if, in case there is an outage. We have two types of maps available. We have, in case you have an API key purchased from Google, you can make use of Google Maps option available in OpManager MSP. If not, we also have this, which is Zoho Maps. We can directly import client devices to this map. So to show you what I mean, let me just double click here. So as you can see, you can select what device you want added where. And once you click on add, that device will be added right here. You can do it here as well. Click add and the device will be added here. Next, let's talk about the data center view. That is the rack view and the 3D floor view. So using this, you can create a virtual replication of client data center floors and racks. You can embed data center views in Knox screen and facilitate 24/7 monitoring. Data center view is dynamic and shows you the device status in real time. You can create virtual racks and place devices in it. And color codes will also allow quick identification of faults or device alerts. Let me show you how this looks in the product. So let's click on Maps again. So let's check on the 3D floor view first. So as you can see, this is how the 3D floor view looks in OpManager. You clearly have a visual representation of the different racks on this floor. As for the rack view, so you can see how the racks have been stacked and how they're visually represented for your convenience. And this allows for quicker troubleshooting as well. Our next topic is the NCM add-on. So as you know, OpManager MSP is always upgrading. We have a new feature released we have a new feature that is Network Configuration Manager add-on. The growing business need will in turn grow your network, and you make a lot of configuration changes on a day-to-day basis. Let me give you an example. Let's assume you have to add one device to your network. So you will be able to log into PuTTY and do the configuration. If you want to make the same change to many devices of all of your client's network, you will look for an option to push the configuration in bulk. In that case, you will have to log into each device manually and make the necessary changes because there might be a configuration error or you may forget to record the change. It would be beneficial if you used a network configuration manager to avoid these. So you will be able to minimize configuration errors and detect the configuration change. For example, if a technician makes a change, you will be aware of what device and what configuration changes have been made. So let's see how helpful this NCM add-on really is. With OpManager MSP's NCM add-on, you can track every change that is made to your client network devices. OpManager MSP can help you take configurations back automatically or schedule them. With NCM add-on, you can automate or schedule day-to-day network configuration tasks in bulk as well. You can keep up with the latest compliance policies like HIPAA, SOX, Cisco iOS, and PCI to keep your client's network secure. You can also scan, spot, and fix firmware vulnerabilities with the relevant patches suggested by OpManager MSP. So let's see how this looks in the product. Let's click on Settings. Under Add-ons, click on NCM. So you have the basic settings and the DVC settings, export configuration, and export history. To check on the devices and the config management, just on network, under the network tab, click on config management. Excuse me. So let me just choose Pro. So once you click on this device, so under the device summary page, you can see the device details, system information, and the configuration changes. You can check the firmware vulnerabilities that have been detected. And if you click on inventory, you can find the interfaces and the inventory. And the hardware details, you can obviously find the hardware details. You can find a summary of the backups that have been taken, the compliance status, and the operations. So this is all there is to know about an NCM add-on in OpManager MSP. So the next topic is client network reporting. Organizations often have limited in-house developed solutions for reporting. These solutions tend to leverage data drawn after the fact from the client network monitoring tools using spreadsheet-based outputs. The tool will have a lot of data accumulating to gigabytes of disk space, and the tool is capable of providing immediate and intelligent reports like OpManager MSP. It will make a world of difference in running a well-planned, optimized client IT infrastructure. In OpManager MSP, you can schedule reports and have them delivered to your email address or pull reports manually. You can pull reports like the health report of your routers institute. There are pre-made reports that can fetch you the devices with the highest packet loss or response time. There is also an interface availability report. You can pull certain hardware performance metrics like temperature, fan speed, etc. You can identify the device with heavy incoming and outgoing traffic. Similarly, high incoming and outgoing errors or discards. OpManager MSP also allows you to create custom reports based on the data you want. So just see how this looks in the product. Just click on reports. So as you can see, you can get reports like the system reports, health and performance, availability and response. You can get the man and wipe monitors reports, storage reports, forecast reports, and so on. And if you see here, you can see that we have a dedicated option for NCM reports as well. You can get the hardware inventory report, firmware inventory, device inventory, network health status, the backup status, configuration changes, and much more. OpManager MSP also allows you to create custom reports based on the data you want. That's a very important point. So now let's talk about Data Collection Manager. The Data Collection Manager feature in OpManager MSP aids in viewing all the client's monitor, interface, or credential-related issues in a single pane so that any monitors or interfaces without ongoing data collection can easily be identified. It keeps a vigilant eye on data collection and helps achieve better scalability. Data Collection Manager also lets you improve the efficiency of polling and reduce unnecessary polling loads on the server. It improves the overall data and collection performance in the OpManager MSP server and helps streamline the server's resources to reduce unnecessary loads. So how does OpManager MSP's Data Collection Manager work? So let me take an example to explain this. Let us take an interface like Ethernet and assume we are polling it for data once every 5 minutes. If the monitor responds, it remains in a normal monitor state. However, if we fail to get a response for say 6 hours, it is moved to a suspended state and we still try to pool the device using a delayed pooling interval of say once every 5 hours for the next 7 days or so. If we still fail to get a response from the monitor, it is then moved into the disabled state. So let me show you this in the product. So we're going to click on the support button here. So click on diagnostics. So you can see the failed monitors listed out a single pane. And here you have the failed credentials. So all of these failed monitors have been listed out in the DCM, and you can quickly troubleshoot it to see what the problem is. And in case you want to check whether the monitor has come back to its normal state, you can just click on the test monitor button right here. And if the monitor is collecting data again, it will be moved back to its normal state. So we've almost come to the close. We've almost come to the end of the presentation. So just summarize before we move on to our surprise after this. So we've looked at network faults, creating notification profiles to your needs. We checked on alarm escalation rules. We checked on how to automate IT tasks in MSP, OpManager MSP workflow. We checked on how visualization features helps you get down to the root of the problem quicker. We checked on how the NCM add-on helps enhances OpManager MSP. And finally, we've checked how all the custom reports that OpManager MSP provides you. But there is something new. So OpManager MSP can now manage switchboards and IP addresses. So with OpManager's new OpUtils add-on, you can now manage the availability and utilization metrics of IPv4 and IPv6 addresses, subnets, and supernets from a centralized console. You can now rapidly scan multiple switchboards to track the network connectivity details. You can effortlessly monitor DHCP servers, their scopes, and associated IP lease details. You can also detect rogue devices and remotely block the network access. You can utilize Cisco SNMP network and address management tools for efficient troubleshooting. So if you want to see how this looks in the product, so you can see under the IP address manager, you have all these IPs listed. Under switchport mapper, you can see the ports that are available and get a visual representation of your ports. If you click on the rogue detection tab, you can see all the IPs that have been listed as rogue IPs in OpUtils. So please review us on Capterra, leave a review there about OpManager MSP. And we've also set out certain polls. Please provide a response there. If you have any queries, please drop an email to eval@management.com and follow us at our YouTube channel and our LinkedIn page as well. Thank you for attending the webinar.